To start off, we're going to do a little bit of fact checking. In the last episode, Dylan had stated that Mark Hamill did not know that Darth Vader was Luke's father before the premiere of the movie, when in fact he knew for a year and a half. And then one other minor fact check is Trump's rally, how...
I asserted that there is a video of Trump at a thank you rally post-election where a man started to cheer "Lock her up," and then he said something along the lines of, like, no, like, you know, before the election, that plays well after, we don't care. And I was asserting that the fact that he'd misled some of his supporters, but upon rewatching the video, we discussed it, and we decided that depending on the way that you took the video, it could have been taken multiple ways, so that while what I said was not necessarily invalid for sure, that it could have been taken another way, I think is how we...
It wasn't indisputable evidence.
Yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't a quantifiable statistic or something, so we kind of just let that one be.
Yeah. We'll put the video in the description for you guys to listen and figure it out for yourself. And ultimately, with inauguration very close, we'll know whether or not it's true or false.
Welcome back to the second episode of Views from the 506. I'm Dylan.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Carter.
For this episode, we're going to go over various things that we look forward to in the year of 2017. And for the most part, we're going to start off with movies and go from there.
Alright, so the first movie on our list is Lego Batman,
which I anticipate as being the truest and best adaptation of Batman on the big screen.
Yeah, all of the commercials and ads that I've seen makes me very excited for it. I'm really excited to see Lego Batman.
Well, these days, I typically see the toys on the shelves, and it kind of disappoints me because I think they're crap a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But the Lego Batman movie Lego sets they have so far are actually getting me more and more excited.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know the Lego movie sets were, like, some of them were taken straight out of the movie. Like, they were... like verbatim exactly what they were.
Yeah.
And there's some really cool ones like the Joker Lowrider, and like they have a new Clayface set that looks really cool. So it's making me more excited than they typically do. But I'm really excited because the Lego movie was just so damn good.
Yeah. And what'd you think about Robin?
From the trailers?
Yeah.
Well, I can't really tell if it's supposed to be an established Robin or not because I don't think Nightwing has been in any of the trailers, or
I don't think so either.
Aesthetically, it reminds me a lot of the Carrie Kelly Robin from The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, like the glasses and the haircut and the really short shorts.
Yeah, I think so too.
But it sounds, I'm pretty sure it's Michael Cera.
Yeah,
I think so. It's played by a boy, so it may just be an homage to that or a coincidence.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's inspired by Carrie Kelly, but I think it's an original Robin.
Yeah, and I definitely think that it's going to be funny because, I mean, I giggled at it in the trailer.
Yeah.
But I think Robin's going to be a big hit with the kids, while the Joker, who's played by Zach Galifianakis, of all people.
Galifianakis?
Galifianakis.
Yeah. Galliguna Goo.
I think that he's probably going to be my favorite part of the movie, just from the trailer alone, the gag where he's like, "You fight other people?" And he seems so heartbroken over that.
Yeah.
And Will Arnett's Batman from the Lego movie was fantastic, and I'm glad that they brought him back because, you know, can't get too much of a good thing.
I'd love to see his Darkness No Parents song again. I hope he does a sequel.
Now, do you guys think that Lego Batman will pander more towards kids, or will it have more of a older audience rather than the Lego movie, which pandered a lot towards kids, but still had that ability to get the adult audience entertained?
I think it's going to be targeted more to kids, but that's because they have to sell all the toys and stuff. But it's going to be a movie that adults can go in and enjoy as well, just like the Lego movie.
Yeah, I definitely think that, especially with how well they struck a balance in the first movie, and then, you know, a lot of movies like the Pixar movies and some of the DreamWorks movies, they've really learned in the industry, I think, of how to make a good movie without it being too pandering or too reliant on the kids will like this and the parents will be miserable. I think that everyone will be able to have fun.
Yeah.
Fun for the whole family.
Yeah. Alright, so the next movie on the list is Logan, and personally I'm really excited for Logan based off of the trailers and the source material and everything.
Definitely, this is one of the movies. Like, I don't think of it as a superhero movie, and I would say it's one of the superhero movies I'm looking forward most to. But Old Man Logan is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Wolverine stories in the comics, and currently would easily fall into like one of my top 5 ongoing series from Marvel. And I definitely recommend anyone who's a fan of the character, or even a fan of things like westerns or that kind of drifter hero story, should check it out. But judging from the trailer, one thing that, really is appealing to me is the fact that it looks more grounded.
Yeah.
That it has a darker tone, but even the action's not so like jumping off buildings with wires kinds of things. I think it's going to be a much more personal story.
Yeah. And obviously it's not going to be a direct adaptation because they don't own the rights to almost all the characters that are in the Old Man Logan story. So it's going to be very interesting what kind of story they have and how they do it.
Yeah, because Hawkeye's arguably like the secondary protagonist for much of the story.
Yeah.
With the Hulks being a major villain, and like, there's simply no way that they could have done, even if they had the rights, the budget that it would take to do that movie would have been astronomical, I think, to properly do it, because as it being a comic book, and one reason I like them, they don't really have a budget. They can do wild out there things on every single page, but I'm glad that they're not trying too hard to like, make analog characters like, oh, this will be the Hulks in the movie. They're just kind of taking the idea of an aging Logan in a world that's kind of moved on, which I think it's a much better move than if they'd try to do some bullshit adaptation. Yeah,
and if they do try and do an adaptation, I would love to see an Old Man Rogers.
Oh, yeah. One of the best issues of the ongoing series actually is like a Old Man Logan versus Old Man Rogers.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of fun they could have had with those characters.
Yeah. All right. So the next next movie on the list is Kong Skull Island.
Now that's one that I'm very intrigued by, but
Yeah.
I've yet to decide if I'm going to spend money to see it.
I know that I'm not going to go see it in the theaters, but it's a movie I'm really excited to see how it's going to work, because it is in the same universe as Godzilla, and they're building towards a King Kong versus Godzilla movie. And I'm really interested to see how much they like buff up King Kong to make it realistic that he could take on Godzilla, because you've seen Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
He's like unstoppable, massive monster. And from what I've seen in the trailers, King Kong doesn't look like he's like within 100 feet tall of Godzilla. Like, he doesn't look nearly as tall. So I'm really interested to see how they do all this.
Yeah, which, as a bit of a digression, I find it very fascinating that now everybody is trying to do a connected universe of movies, because I don't think it's as apparent, but from what I understand, Universal, they've been doing their monster movies again. They did I, Frankenstein, then they did another Frankenstein movie recently with McAvoy and Radcliffe, and then they've done, they're doing The Mummy and what was it, Dracula Untold?
Yeah.
And apparently that they were going to try to build that towards some kind of connected universe of monster movies, but I don't know if that's going well, because I don't think any of those movies have done well.
Yeah. I like the idea of more cinematic universes if they're ones that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think in today's era, I don't think anyone's going to be very interested in watching a Dracula Frankenstein shared universe.
I would if they were quality, but...
Maybe if they were quality, but there hasn't been a quality movie of either of those in a long time, I don't think, that I've seen. I like the idea. Like, there was something floated around a couple years ago of a G.I. Joe Transformers shared universe,
yeah,
and I think that would have been really interesting. But with a shared universe, it's a cool idea. I just don't want the market to get oversaturated with them.
Yeah, that would definitely be a concern of mine. Yeah, and well, going back to Kong, it's a movie that when I watch the trailer, it makes me really curious about it, and I'm excited. Is it Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston and John Goodman are both in it.
John Goodman. I feel like Samuel Jackson, is he in this one?
I don't remember.
Or am I making things up in my head?
I can't honestly remember.
Well,
might be.
I know that I saw a cast that really interested me.
Yeah.
And from the trailer at least, the action looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I wish they wouldn't have shown you Kong in the trailer.
Yeah.
Made you go into the movie and see it.
Which they did have a shot that I really liked that looked a lot like Full Metal Jacket, where it was like planes were flying and then the Kong was just standing like over the treetops, and it was really cool. But they did do a good job in the trailer of showing him, but not showing him too much.
Yeah, they didn't show off so much like in the last episode when I was talking about them pretty much revealing John Connor as a Terminator hybrid.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't ruin that. Like, there's still so many questions I have about that movie's plot and how they're doing it. And I'm curious, like, is it supposed to be the first encounter to Skull Island on this? Like, it's like a reimagining of the original?
I'm not for sure. I don't know that much about it. It looks to me like it's the first, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, because it was always a part of the story that they kind of knew of an island out there that they went.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since I saw Peter Jackson's Kong, which was fantastic in my opinion.
Are you talking about like the one with Jack Black?
Yeah.
I actually thought that movie was pretty good. That's one of the better movies Jack Black's ever been in. I think that movie was I think that movie was really underrated. It was pretty good.
Yeah, which it also came out when we were younger, so
Yeah.
I also remember like playing the video game when it came out, so I just enjoyed that altogether. And I enjoyed like the universe, but I kind of do appreciate that they're doing a modern take on this one, so it's going to feel a little more disconnected than a bunch of, what was it, like 1920s or 30s kind of like going to shoot a movie on some island kind of thing. It's got its own vibe.
Now, Carter, you had stated that you were not going to go see Kong Skull Island,
For sure, at least.
but you have seen Godzilla, correct?
Yeah.
Which one?
Would-
There's about 50.
If you're talking about the newest one, yes.
Newest one. Will you see a Kong versus Godzilla?
It really depends on how good I think it's going to be. Whenever movies come out, it has to be really, like, I have to be really excited for it for me to spend that kind of money on it. Like, I really, like, I still want to see Doctor Strange. I still haven't seen it. But I was really excited about it, but it still didn't grab me enough for me to want to go spend $11 on it.
As a Marvel fan, you don't feel morally obligated to go and not be a fake fanboy?
So you've seen every MCU entry in theaters.
Yep.
The Incredible Hulk.
Yep. Since I know, well, okay, I was just being a pretentious right there,
Yeah.
but like actually, I've seen every single one of them on opening weekend, if not opening night. I think I had to see Thor and the Hulk the day after because I couldn't drive.
Yeah.
And there's only been one, and I think that Ant-Man was the only one I saw without Tommy because we just had a tradition of going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen every single one in theaters opening day or opening weekend.
Yeah.
Because I'm about it, and I've got to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done that with Star Wars, but
All 2 movies that's come out since.
well, yeah, yeah. But you know,
I mean, it's ridiculous. I understand that it's absolutely ridiculous that I've done that and that I still do that.
Yeah, it's a big commitment to go to every single MCU movie,
Especially on an opening weekend.
especially on opening weekend.
Opening
yeah.
night.
Opening night.
Yeah, now at least.
Either way.
I'll be there Thursday.
Yeah. I'm just really weird about what movies I will and won't go see in the theaters. Like, there's a lot of these movies on my list that I want to go see in theaters, but some of them I won't go see, and then there's ones that I don't want to go see that I will go see.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Well, for me, I really liked the new Godzilla, and Gareth Edwards directing that movie is one reason that I was so excited for Rogue One, which he also directed. And it would depend for me partially on who is the director and also the cast, like the human cast in a movie. While I would totally be all out for them just saying, let's do a kaiju movie and let's not be apologetic about it. Let's just like have these people fight.
Yeah.
I'd be all about it. But it would also depend on like the rest of the crew and the cast that did it for me.
Which, one thing he was really good at in directing the Godzilla movie, he was really good at building scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really showed in Rogue One with how big he made the Death Star feel.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the moments where there's like, it's following the actors. Like, he seems to use a lot of lower shots, kind of like Jurassic Park did, where like, you're not looking at the AT-AT like straight on. You're looking at it from like being down. I feel like a lot of the shots of Godzilla from the human perspective were done intentionally to make you feel small.
Yeah, and from a
Cinematography?
Yeah, from a cinematography. That's really hard for me to say. That's early in the morning. But from a cinematography standpoint, I love how Jurassic Park was shot because it's not like a lot of monster movies now where they want to show you the whole thing. You see eye level or below for all the dinosaurs, and it's like no exceptions. Okay, so the next movie on my list is Beauty and the Beast.
Honestly, I'm a little surprised that you put that. Like,
Well, it's not a movie I'm excited for, it's just one I wanted to talk about.
okay, because I'm excited for it like a little girl right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially after having just seen La La Land. I'm kind of on a bit of a musical kick,
Yeah.
and I love Emma Watson, but because of Harry Potter. But I haven't really seen her in anything else I can think of. But I just think that this is a movie that a lot of people are excited for, but that it's actually got like a chance of being really good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've really enjoyed the live action Disney movies that they've done, like The Jungle Book.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I know there's another one, and I can't remember what it was.
Maleficent?
Maleficent, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed that movie. It wasn't awesome, but I did like it. But The Beauty and the Beast is something I'm excited for.
The Beauty and the Beast, unlike like the original cartoon animation sort of style, this one is not really pandered towards kids. It's you watched it when you were younger, and now you're going to see a live action sort of representation of it.
Well, have you seen the side by side of the trailers?
Well, I was thinking of like Cinderella. I think was what was coming to mind.
Well, I was gonna say, have you seen the side by side of the original trailer for the cartoon and the one
It's
for the
amazing
movie?
to see.
It's shot like it's frame for frame the exact same thing, and I do think that's really cool.
Yeah. And I recently, because I'd never heard Emma Watson sing, so I was curious about that.
Yeah.
And I heard a clip recently of her actually singing, and it was pretty good too. Like, it's really good, but it was even better than I anticipated.
Yeah. I was pretty excited about it. Now it's probably gonna be really good, but I was gonna go with. So obviously, I'm not excited to go see it anymore.
Yeah, I'll probably go by myself to that.
Yeah.
Like, I went to the Jungle Book by myself, and I show up, and it was before I'd got that haircut, so I've got like long hair, I've got like scruffy look, and I'm wearing all black with a tank top, so all my tattoos are showing, and I sit down between a couple of grandmas, and they give me a look like, what is Satan doing here? But the movie was good. It was just I was an outlier in that audience, and I'm sure it'll happen the same at Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Not that I really mind.
No. All right. So next on the list is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, this is that's one of the big ones for me this year.
I think it looks awful.
As soon as that teaser
I'm-
trailer dropped,
I'm completely joking. I'm so
I'm about
excited.
to come across this table at you, son.
I'm so excited for that movie.
Oh yeah, the first one is probably one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's top 3 for me, hands down, no doubt.
And this looks like it's gonna be more of the same with a bit of a different, with some new, new stuff in. Like it looks just like a natural progression from the trailer, and it's the same cast and crew. So I think James Gunn is still directing it, and the fact that it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah.
And not just like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like they're still like wherever they can, they're putting their own like spin and that own like bit of Guardians DNA in it.
Yeah. The thing I'm probably most excited to see in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is how they do Ego the Living Planet.
Yeah, because wasn't it like it's been a discussion if he's going to be in his human form or if he's going to be like the big face planet.
Yeah. And so there's like 3 things I can kind of see where this is how it can go. First being like the Wizard of Oz, like where is it Kurt Russell who's playing him?
Oh, I thought you meant in the Wizard of Oz. I was going to say
No,
he was not.
It's
in
Kurt
the Wizard.
Russell the one playing Ego.
I'm pretty sure.
All right. So it's either gonna be like Kurt Ego in a giant spaceship that looks like a planet, or it's gonna be like a giant living planet, and he's like the avatar for it. Or what I'm hoping for, it's a planet with a big old face like in the comics.
And the thing is, had this been before the like original Guardians and before like Doctor Strange and stuff has come out, I would have been like, oh yeah, they're just gonna have it be like Ego, the guardian of the living planet. But after Howard the Duck showed up,
Yeah.
And pretty frank depictions of Dormammu, like to be honest, I think they're just gonna do a big planet with a face on it.
I hope they do. The same thing. If you'd have told me a few years ago, I would have thought that they would do like what they did with the Galactus in Rise of the Silver Surfer, and just make Ego a big cloud.
Space Cloud.
Yeah, space cloud. But yeah, I would not be surprised if they went true to the comics and made a planet with a big old face on it.
Now, this is not the only movie that will have a giant planet character coming up.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But
okay, so I'm honestly, one of the things that I'm most excited for in Guardians 2 is Awesome Mix Volume 2.
Yep,
I
because
still listen to that CD in my car.
yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy had the best soundtrack of any movie in a while.
I'd listened to that soundtrack on loop for probably a good 4 months after the movie came out, and still listen to it on occasion. Just
Oh, yeah. I really hope they do call it Awesome Mix Volume 2.
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah, like, and which I kind of don't want to know what it is until the movie's out, though. Because,
Yeah, I don't want to know any songs on it until...
like, Guardians did what Suicide Squad tried to do with its soundtrack, where it has, like, all these, like, good hits, and they're used, like, really cleverly. But Suicide Squad did it wrong because it's just every 5 minutes, like House of the Rising Sun or some pop song I don't know the name of, but it's just music the whole time.
Which Suicide Squad actually had a couple good songs in their soundtrack.
Oh, I mean, it's fantastic music, but it's just so oversaturated.
Even like the original ones that they had made for the movie. Like the Purple Lamborghini song isn't bad, but I think it's funny that there's no purple Lamborghini in the movie. The Joker's car is like a white something.
Nah, it's like a maroon. It's not
Maroon?
really purpley to me, but
Oh, okay. It's like a maroon kit car.
yeah. But it's like in Guardians though they had like, they started off with like Hooked on a Feeling in that first trailer. Then they have, Come and Get Your Love. They've got Cherry Bomb. They've Ain't No Mountain High Enough, the Pina Colada song. It was just like they really hit the right vibe and tone with all of their music in that movie, and I thought it was just really fun. And
Well, the reason they probably did better at that than Suicide Squad is because that was in the original cut.
yeah,
Yeah.
now, in the trailer teaser for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, they had put in the song, was it Hooked on a Feeling Still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that, do you think any repeats will be put into the next one?
Maybe. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they played that song again.
I feel like Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye probably will be in it again because that's technically it's on. Not to be that guy, but it's on the CD for Awesome Mix Volume 1, but technically it was on Awesome Mix Volume 2 at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that
that's true. Yeah.
I like the fact that they justified the soundtrack as being a cassette tape that he played that was a gift from his mother. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool idea because in most movies, like, you're hearing the music, but the character isn't. But in this, you're the character and you're both hearing the song.
Yeah, in a lot of the instances. Like
Which,
the
by the-
opening scene, like he pops in his earbuds and he's...
Which I was fixing to say, if you think about that opening scene, it does a lot of jump cuts where, like, he's doing different stuff, but the music never jumps. Think about that for a minute.
That's...
I had actually noticed that whenever I initially watched the movie, but I just played it off as it's still good music. Just let it be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ruin that for me, man. Which I feel like we're talking a lot about at the original, but I feel like you can't talk about why you're excited for Guardians 2 if you're not talking about Guardians 1.
Yeah, whenever we get into these other sequels, we're probably going to do the exact same thing.
Which, speaking of sequels and Marvel movies, one movie that I've put down, I'm sure you did too, is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm stoked for.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how they do Planet Hulk.
Yeah, like from the get go when they showed they did that thing like what is it like a year or two ago now. Yeah, it's been about 2 years since they gave the big timeline, and they had Thor Ragnarok, and it confused me because it's Thor Ragnarok, that sounds like a Thor movie because Ragnarok's a big part of the comics and Nordic mythology to begin with. But Ragnarok looks like some 1980s action movie title. Or if you'd went to some like old arcade back in the day and you'd booted up a cabinet, and that looks like what it would have, kind of like a Kung Fury. That's kind of what it reminded me
yeah.
of.
That's what, yeah.
Which they've updated the title, and it's honestly just got more so that 1980s like neon love fest kind of going on.
Yeah.
But I'm stoked because they've got Hulk in it.
Yeah.
And Thor's going to be in it.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange is going to be in it.
Yeah.
And Thor, in both iterations, Thor and the female, the current Thor, they're some of my favorite characters, and so is Doctor Strange, like I've said a million times, and we'll say a million more. So I'm getting a movie with some of my favorite Marvel characters together that I did not anticipate getting, but also done, and it seems to be done in a style similar to Guardians, at least.
Yeah.
That they said they're gonna get really weird with it. Like,
Yeah.
they're not trying to be Thor. They're not really trying to do fantasy. If anything, it's gonna be more of a sci-fi movie, from what I understand.
Yeah. And I really hope it goes well, because I would love to see more of these team-ups of just random characters.
Yeah.
Because the more and more characters you add to the MCU, the harder and harder it's going to be to have big Avengers-style movies where all the characters are in it. And so I'd love to see movies where, like an Iron Man and War Machine movie.
Yeah.
Or well, I mean, we kind of already got that. But like a Spider-Man, Black Panther team-up, or
Yeah, or like
Captain America and Vision.
Star-Lord.
Yeah.
I would kill for, like, if you did like a buddy cop movie and it was Captain America and Star-Lord.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh my god, I would.
That'd be really cool.
The thing,
You'd be the first one to see the movie in the door.
He'd camp
I
out.
would be anyways, but because I'm a true Marvel believer. But I think it's funny that you mentioned that, because Marvel has actually said to kind of reassure their fans, because they're like, after Infinity War, what are y'all gonna do? What can you build towards?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, don't think that we're going to be doing, like, every 5 or 6 years a big crossover movie with everybody. They said, actually, they're going to want to push towards more solo films or, like, team-up movies that are kind of like really unexpected team-ups. And they said that, I've heard potentially that there was talks to do a Rocket Raccoon Groot movie.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And I feel like that would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
That'd be like a good, solid comedy right there with some hell yeah action, I think.
You know what else would be really cool? If you had a movie of just all the bug characters. So you had Ant-Man and Spider-Man teaming up to fight...
Or the Wasp.
And the Wasp, yeah. And they team up to, like, fight the Scorpion.
Oh my god.
That would be awesome.
Do you think we'll get a Squirrel Girl movie?
Oh, I don't know.
I'd like a Netflix series.
Yeah, Netflix series for sure.
But yeah, Ragnarok, that's one of those ones where I've not even seen the trailer, which I feel like we should be getting before long, because
Yeah.
it's coming out this
It should be
fall
out
or
pretty soon.
winter.
It should be out pretty soon.
But I really, despite not having seen anything from the interviews I've seen, that's just one that I'm excited for so many different reasons.
Yeah. Alright, so next I've got Alien Covenant. And I'm pretty excited for it because it looks like they're taking a step away from the Prometheus side of that universe. And they're getting back to what made the original so good.
I've still not watched the trailer, to be honest.
Really?
And I liked Prometheus. Prometheus.
Yeah.
I really liked. Fassbender is going to be back, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, like I might go see it in the theaters if I go with somebody, like if someone invites me, because I really like watching him in movies.
Yeah, Fassbender's really good.
And if they are going back to that like horror vibe, then I do think that it'd be nice. Trying to be less. I feel like Prometheus was trying to be way more philosophical than it had much right to be.
Yeah.
Like it was trying to be. Like the whole time, like there was all this stuff about like the main character, like her religion or her faith or something. And at the end of the movie, I was kind of like, does she believe in God still? Does she not? What is she gonna go kill this species? What is she doing?
Yeah.
And is it supposed to be a direct follow up to that, or just kind of like?
See, I'm not for sure. Like I know a little bit about the movie.
Is it a sequel?
Yeah. I mean, it's in the same universe. It's supposed to happen after. But I know a little bit about the movie, but I'm keeping myself ignorant to a degree. Because whenever I see the movie, I just want to be completely caught off guard.
I like to do that sometimes with a
Yeah.
movie. It really helps.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I didn't. Well, because I saw a moment of the trailer, and it looked like Fassbender's character David had a body again. Well, at the end of the Prometheus, he was just a head, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Prometheus had a few downfalls when it came to like, it tried to be more than what it should be. It was a little over the top in my opinion, but I have high hopes for this movie coming up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what got it was trying to be too serious and be over the top.
Yeah, it couldn't.
It's really hard to do both.
Yeah, you can't take yourself seriously and be over the top. You can either be over the top and allow like that actual genuine like emotion story to come out, or you can just not be over the top.
Yeah. All right. So, kind of related to Alien Covenant is Life. And I'm very, very excited to see that because it has Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds in it, who are two of my favorite actors. Gyllenhaal was in Nightcrawler, which I've told you is one of the best movies I've ever seen. But it looks a lot like they're trying to get the vibe of the Alien movie, the original Alien movie too.
Yeah, like the kind of trapped on a space station.
Yeah.
That's one that has interested me. That I may go see.
Now, one thing about Life that I love is in the trailer, they sort of showed the little life thing that attacked the astronaut, but they didn't really. They left it to the mind to really think of what is this thing.
Yeah.
And that's what trailers really need to do is not show enough to where people are spoiled, but show enough to where you get your mind rolling.
Yeah. Which I hope it's the same way in the movies, because when it comes to like scary movies or stuff like that, it is so much better when they don't show you anything.
Yeah, like the movie. Well, the trailer I think was a good trailer by like all means. That's what a trailer should be.
Yeah.
Because I really couldn't tell you what the hell that movie was supposed to be about yet. I could be like Gyllenhaal, Reynolds on a space station and something like goes down. Because in the trailer, it has that little moment where the plant thing attacks, but then throughout the rest of the trailer, all of the conflict and the tension is created by the humans in the trailer. And like at one point it almost looks like they start turning against each other. And I'm really fascinated, like, is that an actual threat or is it a perceived threat that gets blown out of proportion?
I wonder if they're going to do something like It, or no, The Thing, not It, The Thing, where it infects people and you can't tell who's infected and who's not. I think that'd be very interesting, because I think a mix of Alien and The Thing would be that would make a very interesting movie.
Yeah, so that is one that I'm interested about, but I'll probably go see it.
Yeah, I will too.
Well, one of the movies that I picked out, but I feel like maybe the two of you are not as you're not anticipating it quite to the same degree as John Wick Chapter 2.
Well, it's because we haven't seen the original yet. You haven't made us watch it.
Well, I haven't made you watch it because I shouldn't have to make two grown men watch one of the best movies that's come out in the past few years. Which I'm excited for John Wick 2, kind of like I am excited for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, is the fact that John Wick was such a brilliant movie, and I don't want to go too much into depth because y'all have not seen it, but I'm excited for that because it looks to be like an expansion of the universe, more of the good stuff. Can't really say there's a lot of bad, if any, in the original movie. So I've got high hopes for that one, and I'm definitely going to be there as soon as I can to see it.
Yeah. The next movie on the list would be Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales.
I love the Pirates movies.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up wanting to be a pirate for the times I wasn't trying to be Batman or a cowboy.
Yeah.
And I do like all of the movies. The first and the fourth are my favorites.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird, though, that the fourth one was pretty good, but it seems like everybody just completely forgets that one ever came out.
Yeah, and the fourth one had a vibe, to me, that was more of that Disney magic that the first one had.
Yeah, I loved the fourth one.
Which Javier Bardem is going to play the captain of a ghost ship, and it's going to have Will Turner's son in this. So, I think this one is really fascinating to me, and it feels like it's taken forever for them to get this one finished.
Yeah,
and I wonder how.
Hopefully, that means that they're taking their time and making it good.
Yeah, like it definitely was not a rushed project. But I'm really excited that they're kind of going back to this they've all had supernatural stuff, but this kind of like, the fourth movie was fun. It had the mermaids and stuff like that. Yeah. But like, I feel like the mythology of that was a little more unknown or made up than like, I feel like you associate ghost ships with pirates a lot.
Yeah. And this one seems like it's more of a in-your-face kind of thing like the first one was.
Yeah, like that really like impressive CGI and stuff.
Yeah. And
I don't know if it's true. I heard originally they were going to have James Norrington back as a part of that ghost ship's crew. From where he was killed in the third movie.
Yeah.
And I'd kind of like that because I did like Norrington. He had a really interesting arc across the movies.
Yeah.
The CGI looks really good in the movie, though.
Oh, yeah,
in the trailer.
Yeah.
I wonder how long they're going to keep this franchise going, because it's been on for, like 16? No, not 16 years, but it's been going on for the better, like, over a decade now.
What was the first one, Black Pearl?
Yeah.
Black Pearl. And that's
long.
I'd say like 2003 or 4.
My only if this is good, that's great. But my only concern with this is I hope that they don't drag it on too long.
Yeah, I would like them to wrap up the Legend of Jack Sparrow before long. As much as I love the movies, the guy is like 50 something now.
Do you think that, say, once they end it, do you think they'll go on with other characters and continue this
I would be
world?
completely fine with them going on with other characters and continue the world, but I don't want to see Jack Sparrow in another 8 movies. I love his character, but it's getting kind of old.
Yeah, and the way they're spacing these out, they just now if they did something like Will Turner's son's going to be in this movie, and I don't know much about the character. He could be awesome, or he could be a Mutt Williams kind of character who was kind of cool, but not a carry the franchise kind of character.
Yeah.
If they introduced the lead and then Jack Sparrow became a background character over and appeared in movies but wasn't the focus, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
As long as artistically it still is a Pirates of the Caribbean movie and it's not a cash grab.
Yeah. Now, here's something crazy to think about. That's one of Disney's most successful film franchises, and it's based off a ride.
Yeah, I find that kind of awesome. I think it's really awesome just because I don't know if that's just brilliance from the company, because it's, I mean, for some it's just a really expensive ad for the ride.
Yeah.
Especially the old ones, because the old ones the first one came out and then it wasn't too long after. I think it was they did them back to back, the second and third movies, which I've noticed that there's not been as many toys being sold for it as they did the original ones. I've not seen any action figures.
I haven't either.
But I had a lot of the action figures when the first ones came out. I had the Osla Crucis playset where we had the big water wheel from that duel. Yeah. I actually could put the figures on it, hit a thing and it would roll off. And had the big black pearl. But I don't see any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah, I don't either. Which maybe they're waiting for it to get closer to the movie.
Potentially. When does it come out? Is it the summer? Because I feel like that would be a good summer blockbuster.
Yeah, it's beginning of the summer. All right, so next I've got Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman is one of the best comic book characters, but I'm cautiously excited.
Yeah, it looks it looks to me anyway that they're trying to just copy Captain America Civil War, or not
the
Civil
First
War,
Avenger.
First Avenger, yeah.
That's what I got. And the fact that they're rewinding it to World War I for some inexplicable reason as of right now, I don't mind, because it's not something you see a lot of big blockbuster movies, much less the superhero ones, set in.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it really serves the purpose.
Yeah.
And that takes...
Well, I think the only reason they rewound it that far back is so that they're not making it World War II and really making it obvious.
Even more so of a homage, or not an homage, but people would say you're ripping it off.
Yeah.
But I liked the way they depicted Wonder Woman in Batman vs. Superman, and as long as that's what I'm concerned about more of anything, is just the way they characterize her.
Yeah.
Because she's one of my favorites, because she is this very nurturing, compassionate character who can also kick your ass without a doubt.
Yeah.
I don't know, she's just the embodiment of it's just so cool. She is what a hero is to me. When I think of a hero, I'm thinking, okay, she is nurturing, she cares for others, and preserving others as best she can, but if she has to get down and dirty, she'll do it.
Yeah.
She doesn't necessarily enjoy it, which is one of the reasons she's become so appealing to me the older I get. And as long as they capture that, I'm going to be very satisfied. If they make it take herself too seriously, or which from the trailer, there seems to be more humor in it than stupid one-liners. In the trailer, there's a scene where she's got a dress and she's like, "How's someone supposed to fight in this?" Yeah,
that's pretty funny. And then the woman sizing her is talking about how she can throw some fists.
That character, I don't know if you're as familiar with the lore as I am.
No, not really.
I'm pretty sure that character is intended to be Etta Candy, who is one of her companions throughout every iteration of the character. Mm-hmm. Who's just a very sassy, independent, says what she will kind of character.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that she's in it, because she's kind of like the god that Diana has into the human world. And they've reimagined her throughout different iterations, because sometimes in the recently they redid the World War II origins and the Legend of Wonder Woman, and she's a singer who was overall on the front of the war entertaining the troops, while on the new DC Rebirth she's a some kind of military officer. But I was really happy that appears to be that character having a presence in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, Wonder Woman, I'm not incredibly excited for it just because I don't have the same kind of emotional
Well, yeah, it's
thing
like
with Wonder Woman. I don't have the same appreciation for Wonder Woman that you do. But it's one of those movies too where if it's getting good reviews, I'll go see it.
yeah.
Does Wonder Woman taking place in World War One really affect like the comparison there between it being Wonder Woman, of course, and the women's rights sort of movement area time period?
Well, yeah, actually, I discussed with a friend of mine, Joey, who I met through like college. We were, emailing each other or Facebook messaging each other back and forth about our take on that and why. And we both felt that it may be to move it more closer in line to have some kind of commentary on the women's suffrage movement, which would be interesting. I think that would be cool.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a complete coincidence and then they try and play it off like they meant to do it.
Yeah. If they try to, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some, if you can excuse it, some legitimate feminist overtones or undertones in this movie.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even DC right now, they're like, every issue they have has an ad, which is really cool, that says, imagine the wonder we can do, or something, and it's like a, kind of supposed to be inspirational to young girls and stuff, of Wonder Woman. But yeah, I'm afraid that that's just gonna be coincidental, and they're gonna try to play it off like they're so, oh yeah, we planned it and all that. But I'm like, if you're at the war front, that's not really where the women's rights movement and feminism.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking it's probably just a coincidence.
And like the fact that in the trailer she has to be a secretary kind of makes me wonder.
Yeah.
So you think it's just pure coincidence, and they're not gonna really pull the strings much?
Yeah, I think it's just
probably.
coincidence.
And then after the movie comes out, they'll probably do interviews where they say, oh, it's to reflect whatever, but originally intention, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
No, I know Wonder Woman is just like any other superhero movie where it's probably going to have more of a male audience, but will...
Ooh, actually, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that
these
either.
days...
Well, I was referring to younger kids, like
I don't know,
9-year-old girls
even these days, I feel like a lot of people go and see superhero movies. And I don't really think that it's more necessarily more boys than girls, because these days, like Lego has as many girl sets as they do boy sets, it seems, or like unisex ones. Now, like the youngest ones, yeah, but I know for a fact that my niece is probably going to want to go see all of these superhero movies.
Yeah, I was referring to like age 11 and under sort of thing. Once you get above a certain age, really the lines are blurred. But
which also, I don't think 11 and under is a really good demographic for DC movies right now. The way they've been playing their cards.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and speaking of DC, Justice League is also coming out this year.
I liked the trailer.
Yeah.
It looks more lighthearted, so maybe they're learning. I do like the character designs, which Batman's got a new suit that they just showed off, which is really cool to me, and I like it. I don't know how I feel about everybody's designs, and the fact that Superman will be back in it, even if it's at the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Don't act like he's not going to be. They don't have the balls to have Justice League without Superman.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just, I'm going to go see it, but right now I'm kind of
it's going to be the same as Batman vs. Superman. I'm going to know going in if I'm going to like it or not. Because once we get closer, I think DC is not very good at hiding whether or not a movie's going to be good or not. I think maybe it's just a special talent I have, but whenever I see the trailers for DC movies, I think I'm very good at telling real quick how good it's going to be. And if we get closer and it looks like it's going to be... I'll probably go see whether it's going to be good or bad, just because Justice League is such a...
Which it's a part 1, isn't it? Like, they're going to do...
I don't know if it's a part 1 or if it's...
Because they already
if they're going to do 1 and
Justice
2.
League.
Well, I mean, Avengers Age of Ultron wasn't part 2.
Yeah, but I feel like it was Justice League Part 1 and 2 for a while, but I'm not sure if they're sticking to that.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's something we can check for the next week's fact check.
Okay.
Which, of course, they could change it before the next one, because Infinity War was going to be part 1 and 2, and now it's not.
Well, they're not calling it that, but they said it's still like 2 connected films.
Yeah, but they're not calling it part 1 and 2.
Yeah, they said that was just a working title.
Yeah.
But right now my biggest complaint from what I'm seeing, it's not even a big complaint. Some of the visual designs I'm not sure about. Like Flash does not look like he could be moving at the speeds that the Speed Force is supposed to allow.
Yeah,
a
lot of
a little
people
clunky.
Yeah, a lot of people like the Flash costume, but I'm not crazy about it.
Like I like the actor, and immediately in the trailer I was like, okay, yeah, that guy, I can believe that the guy that is the Flash, and I like the visual, like when he does his Speed Force stuff, like all the electricity and stuff. That in the Suicide Squad, you get a glimpse of him even doing that, and I like that. And I like the new Batman suit, but I do wish that they would saturate the colors a little more.
Yeah,
they look so dim right now.
Yeah,
like
they do.
It's way too moody for me. It feels 1990s.
Yeah, I agree. So next, I've got Transformers: The Last Night.
Probably not watching that one.
See, I'm gonna go see it just because I've watched all the Transformers movies, and so I feel like I have like somewhat of an obligation to go watch it because Transformers was like my favorite thing when I was a kid. I had boxes of Transformers, like so many. One thing there's only one thing I'm excited about in the movie. It looks like we're gonna see Unicron, and Unicron was one of my favorite characters in
Unicorn's a really shitty name for a bad Decepticon.
Oh man,
that was a joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was bad because he's not a Decepticon either.
Oh, well, I haven't. Okay, I watched the first 3 movies. I might see the 4th one.
Yeah.
If it's on, but yeah, I don't know. I've liked Transformers, but I'm just not. It's kind of like Wonder Woman to me. Or if they were doing a Robin Hood movie, I would be there at the theater a week ahead of time, camping out to see that. But yeah, it's like there's a lot of sentimental value for you, and it's got to be rough. Like watching the Ninja Turtle movies. Mm-hmm. The first one, I'm not even going to watch the second because the first one broke my heart.
I didn't think the Ninja Turtle movies were too bad. I mean, I loved Ninja Turtles when I was a kid too. There was definitely a lot of stuff I didn't like about it, but it was like a C.
Yeah, Shredder Shredder really brought that movie down for me.
Yeah,
that was stupid.
Yeah, he was a little too ridiculous.
So so Unicron though is gonna.
Yeah, so Unicron, which I'm not for sure. I haven't read into it, but off the trailers. There's a lot of scenes where you can see a big planet-looking thing off in the distance in the sky. And there's a lot of bits where they're fighting on what seems like it's either a giant ship or they're fighting on Unicron. But I'm really excited to see it. Did you watch the Transformers cartoons very much?
Not a lot. I was more when it came to the old cartoons. I was more about the G.I. Joe ones.
Okay, yeah. Well, in the Transformers cartoon, when Unicron shows up, the Autobots and Decepticons team up. And so I wonder if they're going to do that, or if they're going to do where Unicron corrupts them, because he does do that to some of the Decepticons.
Well,
too.
Optimus straight up lays out Bumblebee in the trailer, doesn't he?
Yeah, which I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing with that.
I've got no idea. Here's my quick take. I watched the trailer, and when you show me a movie trailer that opens up with knights in the medieval era.
Yep.
And then you show me a big robot dragon and then Nazi Germany.
Yep.
I want to be in love with the movie, but I also have seen the first 3 movies.
Yep.
And I'm like, this would be awesome, but I feel like they're going to take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, they will. And if they would just take a step back and realize, hey, our film series, our entire premise for these movies is robots from space that turn into cars.
Or jets.
Yeah, if they take a step back and realize our source material is a cartoon that was made only to sell toys.
Yeah, they need to embrace the ridiculous.
They need to embrace just how ridiculous it is, and not act like it's Batman Dark Knight every time.
Yeah, and also the first movie. The first movie had a masturbation joke, and a Transformers movie.
Yeah,
that was kind of really fucked up.
Yeah, they were trying to be too adult.
Yeah. I did like the name Witwicky though.
Oh my gosh.
Witwicky.
Yeah, Witwicky. But also, if you haven't noticed, all the trailers for the Transformers movies always follow the tropes of trailers for that year. It's a couple years ago, they had the Inception blongs. Yeah. And then this year they're doing the cover of a popular song and having the good guys fight each other.
They just, I feel like Transformers, they could have easily found their niche and had their very own identity that wasn't they suck.
Yeah.
But they're I feel like they kind of abandoned my interest a long time ago.
Yeah. Which they'll never stop making them because they make so much money overseas.
Oh, yeah. And like the China box office for those movies have got to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But speaking of old science fiction franchises that have got a new movie coming out this year, War for the Planet of the Apes. Have y'all watched much of the Planet of the Apes movies?
I've watched the original, and that's it.
Other than
I haven't watched any of the new ones, even though I know that they're supposed to be really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Some of the best science fiction movies we've got.
Yeah, I've not heard anything but good stuff. It's just I can't get myself to sit down and watch them.
Well, we'll have to do that. I've got one of them. We can find the other easy. Well, from the trailer, I'm excited, and I was excited as soon as the credits rolled on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I adore these movies because they're really which Andy Serkis plays Caesar in this one, like the main monkey in all of them, and this one is like the other ones. They're really good continuations that aren't like they rely on the past one, but there's always a time skip. And I completely forgot that Woody Harrelson was going to be in this movie, and it is. I'm just stoked. Like I can't really go into a lot of it because I don't want to ruin the other movies for you. But these are movies that are mature and they like tackle like interesting themes in each of the movies. And this is taking a bit of a darker path, I think. And I'm really excited to see like the series right now is about Caesar, the main character, and his personal evolution and standing, and throughout the movies the conflict with the humans has come up, and now it's like the war. I mean, obviously it's in the title. So I think it's just going to be another cool addition to the franchise, and I'm really excited to see where they take all the characters.
Yeah. I'll save Austin some time real quick and fact check that you said Caesar was a monkey. He's an ape.
I was going to say ape. I couldn't remember if he was an ape or a chimp.
and then you just decided to say monkey.
And I
which is
said
completely
monkey.
And
wrong.
you just said
know.
ape or a chimp, but chimps are apes.
I know it's early in the morning.
Yeah, 2:04.
As soon as I said that, I'm like, I'm gonna get flack for that.
Yeah.
2:04 in the morning when we all just woke up a few hours ago.
Yeah. All right. So what about Spider-Man: Homecoming?
I'm excited.
I am too.
Like, I love. Almost said Tom Hiddleston, but Tom Holland's performance.
Do you need a timeout to get your brain together?
No, but I'm excited for his performance. The Vulture looks dope,
Yeah.
and Tony Stark's gonna be back. What more could you want in a MCU Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
And hot Aunt May.
Yeah. I like that they put the web wings back on the costume too. I'm excited about that.
But I never thought they were wings. I just thought they were like an aesthetic net.
I mean, that's what they're called. It's just web wings, but they don't serve any purpose.
I'm curious, like okay, so the trailer is really cool.
Yeah.
The gags look funny. Like
I think
whole,
the international trailer looks a lot better than the American trailer. I'll just say real quick.
No, I do think that they really confused even me. Like, I couldn't tell if that was Genki, which is like Miles Morales, the other Spider-Man.
Yeah.
His best friend / roommate / sort of sidekick is Genki. He's like a kind of overweight Asian kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what this other guy is in this trailer. And I was kind of pissed at first. I'm like, don't do that because that's really shooting yourself in the foot of the Miles Morales movie.
Exactly.
Which I was looking it up, and apparently this is a different character from way back in like one of those side characters in the high school Ned leads.
Oh, okay.
But apparently they're doing a Miles Morales animated movie at some point,
Really?
and hopefully in the style of Big Hero 6. Which
That would be really cool.
super dope.
Yeah, because Big Hero 6 was really good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It looks like it's shaping up to be the Spider-Man movie I wanted after Civil War.
Yeah. I hate that, what's his name? The guy from Community.
David Glover.
Yeah. I hate that he's playing a character in that movie because that's who I wanted to play Miles Morales in the MCU.
Yeah, I think he's a little too old now, though. Because a lot of people said that, but I think that was when they were doing the trend of having 30-year-olds play 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Or like 16-year-olds in these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd see why that might be disappointing, though.
Yeah.
Minor question. I know in all these Marvel movies there is the one main common theme where Stan Lee always has his cameo.
Yeah.
Will Do you think Stan Lee will continue these cameos throughout all of the Marvel movies
Until
the
he's
day
dead,
of his
yes.
death?
I think they'll continue it even after he's dead.
Yeah, they'll have like a casket with a rotting corpse in the background or something.
Or just CGI him in.
Like one day,
Yeah.
what is the lanterns that can bring people back from the dead? They're just gonna have a Stan Lee cameo from the dead.
I think you're thinking of DC.
Yeah.
Oh, it's easy. Dang it, never mind.
Is it the Black Lantern?
Black Lanterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixed up my. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't read the Justice League.
You just got fact checked too, Austin.
Yeah,
so.
I did.
Yeah.
All right. So next, I've got Annabelle 2. Have you seen the trailer for that?
Haven't even seen Annabelle 1, and I probably wouldn't have
Okay.
even known
Well,
about it, honestly.
I was just gonna talk about it because I think those are the only scary movies I like is the Conjuring series. And I showed Austin the trailer for Annabelle 2 last night.
Creeps me out.
Yeah, it was very creepy. My only hope for that movie is that they keep to what they did in the trailer, which is great, like really good acting, horrifying, like sound, and then not visually showing you anything. I'll have to show you the trailer. It's like as soon as we're done. Oh man, it's so good. The trailer is really good. It's one of the best horror movie trailers I've ever seen.
Will need to be a movie that I see after Annabelle, the original.
Well, the way the Conjuring movies the way they all work together is they're all part of a story, kind of, but they also don't have anything to do with each other.
There's
So-
like connected themes. And
Yeah, there's
style.
connected themes and it's overarching characters, but you could watch Annabelle 2 and then The Conjuring and then The Conjuring 2 and then Annabelle, or in any order, it would still make just as much sense.
Okay. Kind of like a lot of the horror movie franchises that they're not direct sequels. They
Yeah,
just-
like the Cloverfield movies.
Okay.
Speaking of
Which, there's a Cloverfield movie coming out this year.
Yeah.
And there's they haven't said anything about it. It's just the working title is Cloverfield 2017.
Well, what I've heard.
Have you heard stuff about
the
it?
synopsis was, and like
Oh, I haven't heard anything
kind
about
of
it.
like the past two were completely different
Yeah.
stylistic movies. Is that's going to be set on a space station, orbiting Earth, and then the Earth just disappears, and then the people are like, "What the fuck?" And then that's going to kind of be like the.
For people that can't see, my mouth is like wide open.
I love that
because
idea.
that is a brilliant idea. I'm even more excited now.
And I'm
Because
pretty certain I read that on an IGN article.
Oh man, I hope so much because that is a brilliant idea. What's his name? Who's the director?
I know J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, is
involved,
J.J. Abrams going to be involved in this movie?
I feel like he is. I feel like that may be who that. Apparently, that was.
I know
that was kind
Cloverfield-
of speculation.
The Cloverfield the movies are like his baby,
Yeah.
so I can't imagine him not being involved. But man, if that's what the movie's about, I'll go opening night.
Which I still need to see 10
awesome.
Cloverfield Lane, despite our very thorough synopsis that we received.
Yeah, I think I did a great job of describing.
Yeah.
You probably could get away with not.
John
saying it,
Goodman's in it. I'll sit down and watch it.
but-
He's
John
always
Goodman's
fun.
brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, so then we've got Star Wars Episode 8. That's the last movie I've got on my list.
Steps episode VII.
Yeah, VII. V.
I was just reading about that today. That they're not doing a time skip at all, which they've said before.
So is it going to happen like immediately after?
Immediately after.
That makes sense. Because
Yeah.
the way that ended with Rey finding Luke, that would make complete sense. Just pick it up right there.
Yeah, and that the majority of the movie is going to be about their relationship, the way they relate to each other, and her learning to use the Force. Which obviously they say it's going to be the focus, but there's going to be, Poe is going to be back, and if he's not, I'm going to kick someone between the legs.
Yeah.
Because he was my favorite.
Yeah, he was awesome.
And Finn, he's kind of left his fate's up in the air, and I don't feel like a lot of people talk about that. Like,
Yeah.
he's pretty much comatose.
Yeah, he was a really cool character, and I hope he's back. He's supposed to be back.
Oh yeah, I mean like Kylo Ren though, he like runs a lightsaber up his back. Like
Yeah.
the dude got down for the count.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to see what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah.
And I hope Phasma's back
Yeah.
in a larger role.
I think the Knights of Ren are going to be in a much larger role in this movie too.
Yeah, they said that they would absolutely explore why Luke just kind of turned and ran.
Yeah. Have you heard? I don't know. Like, this may be a spoiler. It might not. Because I've heard it. I don't know if it's true or not. But have you heard the theory or rumor going around that Rey is a reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker?
I've not.
You haven't?
That's
Okay.
weird.
Yeah, it's really weird, and I hope that's not true. But
It would kind of make it kind of like when I was talking about how Rogue One was. It landed better with me, and like so did The Force Awakens, in that they have a more spiritual approach to the Force, and it's not stupid bacteria in the DNA.
yeah.
Including something like a reincarnation in a sense would kind of, support that.
I think it might could work, but I don't like the idea of it. But
like not a direct reincarnation. Like,
yeah, what I had heard was Rey thinks, like, this is all alleged, but Rey is talking to Luke Skywalker, and she thinks that he's her father, and so she's mad that he left her, and then he says, "No, Rey, you're my father," and
No.
I hope so. Like, I hope that's not true. But the only reason I bring it up is because I've seen it a lot of different places. I've seen that.
I also saw that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord a lot of different places.
So, I mean, before Rogue One came out and we knew what happened, I also heard that the Rogue One cast was going to become the Knights of Ren, too. Because if you go in and, like, the Visual Encyclopedia for Episode 7, the names of the Knights of Ren members that it says, there's the Rogue, the Monk, and it goes on, but all the names kind of, you can draw comparisons to the members of the Rogue One cast. So if you looked into it, it would make sense, but obviously it's not true, knowing that they all got exploded.
I just can't get over the idea of Mark Hamill or Luke looking Daisy, as we say Daisy Ridley, but looking Rey in the eye and saying, "No, Rey, you are my father." Like, that's just so silly.
Yeah, which
I mean, if they played it off a certain way, like,
yeah, I'm scared that I want to say no. There's no way they would do that. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, I'm kind of scared that they would try that. I don't know. I hope they don't.
Ryan Johnson is directing it, and I'm super excited because he directed Looper. Which, have either of you seen Looper?
I've seen parts of it, not parts.
I think it's that was a really good science fiction movie. It has Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis in the main roles.
Yeah.
Playing the same character, and it's so cool. It's like one of my favorite time travel stories.
Yeah.
Like, I like the way they handle it all, and like the lore of the world is so interesting.
Yeah.
And recently a friend told me that if I like that, I should check out his other movies naturally.
Mm-hmm.
But when they said that he would be directing episode 8, it absolutely put confidence in me about his ability to direct it.
Yeah. That's all I have for movies, unless you have something else.
Well, yeah, I had a couple others that were stuck out to me. As a big Harrison Ford fan, and I do like Ridley Scott, I wouldn't say I'm a fan because I haven't seen all of his movies. I don't go out of my way to see his work.
Yeah.
But Blade Runner 2049, I think is the title.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer, and after La La Land, I'd consider myself a fan of Ryan Gosling, who is starring in that one, and Harrison Ford will be back.
Which is better, La La Land or Hairspray?
La La Land, personally.
Okay.
As someone who's not a fan of musicals as a genre,
Yeah.
I just have certain ones I like. I would say La La Land, but it's like an homage to old movies, so it kind of pandered to me, I think.
I would have to go with Hairspray because John Travolta's in a dress in that movie.
No. But I'm excited for that. It's been ages since I've seen Blade Runner, and I'm going to have to rewatch that before I see the new one.
Yeah.
To kind of refresh myself.
Yeah, I've never seen Blade Runner, which I really want to see it because I know the dystopian kind of future it has is like what every movie since has kind of tried to steal.
It really laid the foundation for cyberpunk, I think, in the modern mindset.
Yeah.
And it actually, I remember watching it, and it put me on a big cyberpunk kick in like middle school.
Yeah.
And early high school. So I'm excited for that one just because I feel like we've got more science fiction movies coming out lately, but less of that style.
Yeah.
Like, we've got movies that are set in space but really aren't trying to be science fiction in the fact of like exploring a bunch of human themes.
Yeah, a lot of the movies now are like either making space like it's not a big deal, like or it's just a really gritty kind of movie.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of what I'm assuming Blade Runner is like. Obviously, I haven't seen it. How you're describing it?
Yeah, Blade Runner deals with like some really heavy philosophical questions, which I won't go into detail until we've seen it.
Yeah.
And I think we should all sit down and watch that sometime.
Yeah.
I feel like both of you would get a lot out of the movie.
Yeah.
So that's one that I'm really, really excited about. And then another one is Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I don't know if they're calling it the Kingsman 2, but it's the second Kingsman movie.
Yeah.
And
Can you give us a little brief description of what that is? Because I have no clue.
Well, they've not gave much information out, from what I understand. Have you seen the first Kingsman movies?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
I'm clueless.
No, well, you've seen I've showed you the church scene.
Oh, is that okay? All right, I want to see that.
Yeah, so which y'all need to watch the whole one, but I'm excited because major character dies in the first movie, and the first promo they released was like that character has iconic glasses, and it's that, and it says the reports of my death have been like wildly exaggerated or something.
Yeah.
And I love that character, and I'm glad he's back. So I'm just really curious as to what they're doing. It was a really fun spy movie, I feel like a very modern spy movie, and it was like at times a love letter to, and also a parody of spy movies.
Yeah.
So I'm just really excited, but that's going to be like I think December before that comes out. So
Yeah.
we've got a while.
Yeah.
Spy movies are not as frequent as any of these. Other than that, a spy movie, they're not coming out as frequently as they used to.
Spy movies are a lot like westerns in the fact. Well, westerns are starting to come back.
A little bit. Well, it's
yeah,
like in the past few years, I'd say like 5 years, we've had Skyfall.
Other than James Bond.
Well, James Bond, what was the other one that they just did? I've yet to see it. Spectre.
Yeah.
They did Spectre. And then we had The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I liked, which had Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Which
westerns.
I've heard the movie's pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And then we had The Kingsman. And other than that, well, we had some like those comedies. Like I think Sacha Baron Cohen did a spy movie or something.
Yeah.
And
the
then,
Brothers Grimsby or whatever. That's
Yeah.
supposed to be a spy movie.
so-
Pretty sure that's a negative rating on Rotten Tomatoes, though.
Yeah, like there's not been a lot of good or like big spy movies, and I
Yeah.
kind of hate it because spy movies can be so fun.
Yeah.
But for movies, that's really all I have.
Okay. So yeah, moving away from movies, the only TV show I'm excited for is Rick and Morty season 3.
Yeah, I think that's something we're all pretty stoked
Yeah.
for.
Yeah,
Man.
and I don't know which one of us two were the first ones to really see. We might have seen it whenever it first came out. Did you see it whenever it first came out?
I was aware of it when it first came out, but I really started watching it last year, I'd say. Or actually, yeah, about this time last year is when I started really watching it on the website and stuff.
I watched a little bit of it whenever it started to come out, and then I caught up on the website itself. And then we were so into it that we had to pull Carter in on it.
Yeah, I honestly was probably never gonna watch it, and then Austin kept berating me about it, and would not leave me alone about watching Rick and Morty, and I kept putting it off. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch it after I finish this or after this, and eventually I ran out of excuses and had to watch it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I definitely call myself a Rick and Morty fan, but I think a lot of the evangelizing for the show came from Austin.
Yeah.
In the apartment, which now even Donnie's a fan of it.
Yeah.
And which he's not. I don't feel like he has as high of a standard for that kind of stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
But Rick and Morty is undeniably fun, and
Yeah.
when does the first episode premiere?
On the last episode of Rick and Morty, the very final, after the credits have rolled, it goes through a scene with Mr. Poopy Butthole where he states that it'll come back in a year and a half. And from all the clips that we've seen, like little tidbits of uncolored scenes where they're still not
The
fully
animatics.
animated. Yeah, those little scenes. We can tell that most of it's voiced and most of it's drawn already. It's just coloring in a few more little bits here and there. But the year and a half from what was stated, that actually adds up to March of this year. So March is basically the deadline that they gave themselves in that last episode, and I think they're going to stick to that from what it seems.
Yeah. I like that Rick and Morty isn't it's not like most series where it's a yearly thing and they rush themselves to make sure that they get it done.
Yeah, well, overall, it's a much higher quality
Oh yeah.
television show.
it's like it has like the crass humor, but it's a very intelligent,
Yeah.
intelligent
It's
show.
very deep meanings, and it has so many
Yeah.
references to pop culture that it's
Yeah.
countless, really.
Yeah, and it doesn't pander to idiots. And idiots could love it, but it's not like, oh, I got a boner kind of jokes, you know?
Yeah.
Or,
It's not like Deadpool.
yeah, I was about to say, it's not like the Deadpool, like, what'd you call it? Look at my balls, haha joke kind of
Yeah.
jokes.
Which actually do come up.
Look at
in
my
Rick and
balls. What are you
Morty.
doing?
Well, it's like they come up, but I feel like everything's done so much more intelligently.
Yeah.
Well, it balances. Maybe that's it. They balance it out with like really clever. Like
Yeah.
you have to actually have to think about some of the stuff that's going
Yeah,
on.
and if you wanted to, you could sit and like really analyze like really deep meanings behind all the episodes, and
But you don't have to.
but you don't have to exactly.
And I'm just excited because they first put themselves into a position where they're going to have to get themselves out of. I don't want to spoil anything, but they have to get the main character out of a sticky situation.
Yeah, like that. It was really ballsy that they set something up in the final moments of a seasonal animated show that they're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah,
And while most of the episodes are self-contained, there is like not a loose, but there is a overarching plot.
Yeah.
which is not very common.
Another thing that I really enjoy that I foresee in Rick and Morty episodes is, you know how they reference different movies and Purge and whatnot.
Yeah.
There was one little hint, the little trailer that they gave us, where it literally was referencing Star Wars, and so I'm hoping that it might do more stuff like that.
Rick and Morty's all like a kind of a mix of like Family Guy and Black Mirror, if you think about it.
Well, yeah, I haven't watched Black Mirror, but that's pretty much Twilight Zone, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, but
It's-
I like Black Mirror. The only thing with it is after you watch an episode, it's kind of like what just happened. You have to really like sit there for a moment and think of what everything meant.
And that kind of is what Rick and Morty is in many situations.
Yeah, yeah. But there's a couple episodes of Black Mirror where it's so over your head that you have to just look up what it means.
Yeah, I
Like,
still need to watch that. for
like the
sure.
very first episode, we watched
We
it.
had to look it up.
We had to look up what that one was supposed to mean because it was so out there.
But the first episode we actually watched, because we accidentally watched the first of episode.
Yeah, we
season
actually
3.
watched the first episode of season 3.
That
first,
one was
just-
pretty clear cut what it was
Yeah.
trying to get at.
Yeah,
No, it's
but-
an anthology, so I guess it doesn't matter.
yeah. But I really enjoy. I enjoy Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll finish it. I've watched most of it.
Yeah, other than Rick and Morty, I there's not really any other shows that I'm super excited about. I know there's good television going on. Like
Yeah.
once it starts being streamed or on like Blu-ray, I'm gonna watch Westworld,
Yeah.
which I'm pretty sure is based off something by Crichton, who did Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So I've heard that's really good.
Yeah.
Which I love Netflix shows. Like I watch more Netflix original series than anything, and I've honestly completely even forgot to think of those.
Yeah, I was about to say I completely forgot. Is there any Netflix MCU stuff coming out this year?
Iron Fist should be out before long, and is the Defenders this year?
I don't know. But I am really. We can pretend it is for a minute. Iron Fist. I'm really excited for. I loved the trailer for it. The MCU Netflix stuff is really, really good.
Like Daredevil, phenomenal.
Yeah, because I thought
Iron Fist does come out in March.
Oh, it comes out in March.
It's like really quality productions that are their own thing within the larger Marvel universe. You know, it's like it's very much its own. It's their own thing. It's quality productions, and please cut this because this is like kind of rambly.
I was gonna say, even like the worst bits of what I've seen, which was there were some parts in Luke Cage where I thought it was kind of slow, but even that was really good
Yeah.
compared to a lot of other stuff I've seen.
And I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that they've got like are all the seasons for the show's 13 episodes?
The Defenders is gonna be 8 episodes.
Yeah, but I mean of like what they've done so
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
The fact that like all these characters already have more screen time than any of the movie characters allows for a lot better development. I think that for the most part, the villains, particularly Wilson Fisk, are so much better developed.
yeah.
And that they are, but it's still very MCU in the fact that they are building towards a big connected thing. That there's callbacks to others throughout all the series, and even to the movies.
Yeah. I was gonna say, real quick about Luke Cage. The music for Luke Cage was really good.
Yeah.
And Wilson Fisk gets all the hype, but he's been around for 2 seasons. Cottonmouth and what's his name?
Diamondback.
Yeah, Cottonmouth and Diamondback and Luke Cage were both pretty good characters too.
Yeah, I wasn't super into the whole Judas Bullet thing.
Yeah, I didn't like
A
that.
little too much of like a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, like I loved Mike Holter as Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And Luke, well, I mean Iron Fist. Iron Fist. Have you ever read much of the comics? He's got a really interesting lore. He's kind of like the Ghost Riders, in the fact, and I'm sure there's other heroes that aren't coming, and like the like Sorcerer Supremes, and that it's a lineage of different heroes that embody that position. And I'm really like curious as to like if they're gonna approach like the really mythical.
Yeah.
And like there's like a lot of mystic like martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny that it's coming out so close to Doctor Strange because I think there's a lot of comparisons that can be made about their origins, and like these guys from the Western world, like in some like Himalayan type setting, secluded, learning like the magical arts from the master and then embodying the role.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him run around and Iron Fist people.
Oh yeah, punch walls down. And
Oh yeah.
throw really hard punches.
Yeah.
Now,
A lot of iron fisting.
do you think? Do you think they're going to have a costume for the character?
I hope they do. I wouldn't be surprised though if they did like what Daredevil did, where
A slow burn up until
a
like
very
a reveal.
slow burn. Yeah, and not have him wear the costume until like the last episode.
I do want them to do one, but I want, if they do it, I would like the shirtless look where he's got like a yellow sash and a yellow half mask
Yeah.
and stuff. Then like the weird,
The deep V looking thing.
yeah, the V that's cut
I don't know.
down
I was
below
fixing to
his
say
belly
that's what I
button.
want to see. I want to see the deep V thing.
Well, if they did that, like for a moment, like they did the Power Man outfit in Luke Cage,
that'd be cool.
that'd be fun.
Like I could completely imagine or completely see him putting on the deep V thing, and he's like, "Nah, this ain't gonna work," and take
Yeah.
it off.
Can I motion for a petition for Marvel Studios to do a Heroes for Hire episode where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
shot like directed by Quentin Tarantino, please?
Yes.
Where it's shot like an old martial arts or blaxploitation movie
Oh, that would be really
with
good.
their classic outfits and a lot of afros and goofy stuff.
Yeah. I hope they do that. They won't get Tarantino involved because Tarantino will want to come in and just do whatever he wants with those characters.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
probably
that
don't. Luke Cage walking around
Yeah.
dropping probably ain't gonna go over well with Marvel.
Yeah.
Well, aside from the movies and the shows, there's some other things. We got a lot of cool video games coming out. Like
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is something I feel like we're all pretty excited for. Or there's other projects that I could probably go on for hours about.
Yeah.
You guys really aren't as big as readers, but we've got The Winds of Winter to hopefully look forward to release.
Yeah.
Which is the long-awaited 6th book in the series that A Game of Thrones is, or Game of Thrones. I'm not sure what is it. Game of Thrones the show?
I'll have to check, but I'm pretty sure it's Game of Thrones.
That's inspired by, and another series I like, The Gentleman Bastards, which is one of the best fantasy series currently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping they've delayed the, I believe it's the 4th book, The Thorn of Emberlin. Hopefully that one will come out, but can't really have a conversation when I'm the only one in the room who actually reads that
Yeah.
stuff. But
Get one of us into it, then we can have
well,
conversations on
I've got the books if you ever want to pick them up. But
I was gonna say real quick, before we wrap it up because we've gone on for a while. I was gonna say I don't have any books or anything or games that I'm really excited about coming out, but one other thing I'm excited to see in 2017 is Trump's gonna be inaugurated in a little under 2 weeks.
yeah,
And not as much excited but curious to see how his first year is going to go.
yeah, because earlier today we were talking about how if you love him or hate him, that this is going to be a very interesting year.
Yeah.
And I think that even in the next few months is going to really set the tone for his term or his
Yeah.
presidency. No tell, I don't know. I'm not sure when or if they're going to do is start calling for a second term. I feel like that might be a year or two, but even the first 100 days, I think this is going to be very interesting.
And with the Republican Party having a majority in all sections, really, it's
Well, I think we're gonna see a lot of what we just saw here in Kentucky this weekend of the Republicans having their way with a lot of stuff, and not everyone necessarily being happy of it. But I think we will see more bipartisan stuff up top than we did in state.
It's all a wait and see.
Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next week. Maybe not, maybe so. We'll see.
Only if you're lucky.
Well, beloved dub dub.